Hey-oh. It is my favorite
It is.
day of the year, Goon. No, not my favorite day, but one of my favorite days.
It's one of your favorites.
It's one of my favorites. It's my favorite day of the football offseason, for sure. This is the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show, which comes to you live every Tuesday and Thursday from State College's Quaker Steak and Lube. I am quite obviously not Jeff the Ironhead Byers, but you are most definitely Keith Goon Conlon.
I'm pretty sure.
I am representing the pride of UNLV right now.
Greatest punter in UNLV history.
Absolutely. One of the greatest NFL punters also. Randall Cunningham.
It wasn't Danny White from the Cowboys.
That, well, you know.
I know I
the
have
Cowboys
ADD,
did a lot of
as you well know. Imagine having a quarterback that could punt, save that extra position. That's a hell of a roster move. You know? It's a pretty good move.
You know, the brother of my high school football coach was a guy named Bob Parsons who played at Penn State. Now, this is how different football was back in the 1970s.
Okay.
At Penn State and then in the NFL with the Bears, he was a punter, a tight end, and the emergency quarterback.
Jeez. He might have Brian Mitchell's beat out there.
Listen,
everything.
How much would Howie love to have that guy right now?
Why are you going to ruin it? You instantly just ruined the show right there.
No, dude. Today is the draft day. We got to get right into it.
You brought his name up.
We're going to get right into it. We're going to talk about Howie Roseman, the much maligned GM of our Philadelphia Eagles. We'll talk the Steelers, of course, and a number of Penn State Nittany Lions looking to get their names called over the course of the weekend. At least one. Probably two, possibly, although I highly doubt it, even three tonight.
Tonight, yeah. But let's go back to the start.
Yeah.
Love the way the NFL does this nowadays. With the whole Thursday night being the first round. Remember back in the day, it started at noon on Saturday.
I do.
And it went to like 8 o'clock in the first round. Each team had a half an hour to pick. You have 5 minutes now.
It was brutal.
It was horrible. Yeah. It was horrendous. Now, imagine waiting for your name to be called in that situation. Like, but One was the first day. I know that. Just let's put that out there. No, but I mean, what they do now is I really, really enjoy it. They make it a big time. It's a big theme night out in Cleveland tonight. It's going
to be cool to have some really fans in the building again.
Some fans
after last year.
I saw a video of it, and surprisingly, it's raining in Cleveland. It's amazing. It's just the weather there usually cooperates.
It's hard to believe that they are having the draft in Cleveland, and this is like the first time, and I can't remember how long the Cleveland wasn't picking in the top 5.
That's true.
That's kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
That's a sign that we're living in a brave new world.
Well, how about the sign back in the day when the Eagles had the worst team in football, Reed's first year, I believe.
Oh, yeah. That was a bad team.
And then they had the first overall pick. But, the Cleveland Browns are now jumping into the league, so they get the first pick overall. I was like, damn it.
That's all right. They took the Tim Couch bullet for us. That worked out pretty well for Philadelphia. So you want to talk about long slides in the draft historically. I was just talking to my buddy Chris the Buzzsaw Adamski of the Pittsburgh Tribune Review, making sure I wasn't – yeah, for sure. making sure I was not totally clueless when it came to the Steelers draft. And we were talking about that draft. It was the 06 draft where Alex Smith went number 1 overall to San Francisco.
Okay.
And then Aaron Rodgers just kept dropping and dropping.
I remember watching it.
And I said, I thought Green Bay – I was on our buddy's radio show in Pittsburgh Live at the time from the parking lot of the Blue-White game. And I said, this drop is happening to Aaron Rodgers. I think Green Bay may be a sleeper to move up a few picks and get him. They didn't even have to move up. They were picking at like 24 or 26. And they got him. And the context of that conversation was we were talking about how much the league has changed in 15 years, that if Justin Fields starts dropping tonight.
Well, that's what I want to talk about. One of the things
there is no way he drops that far because some team is going to value the quarterback position and move up and grab him. So I know you wanted to talk about quarterbacks at the top of the draft.
Drafts tonight. I really think that there's 2 ways this draft can go, and that is there's the big run on quarterbacks in the first 7-8 picks. Or if they do go the quarterbacks, there is some serious talent dropping back into the early teens, you know what I mean, into the Eagles' lap, in my opinion. Now, if they stop taking the quarterbacks and there's not really a big run on them, they only take 2 or 3 of the 6 that are available, You know what I mean? And the receivers go, which I don't think is going to happen. The O-line will go first, and then if there's a run on the corners and safety on defensive back. So it's just a big, depending on how the first 6 picks go, it's where we're going to decide what the Eagles are going to get, as well as the early teens to the 20s, because there's going to be a lot of talent getting pushed back. The Eagles aren't going to take a one if Jalen. I'm sorry, if Justin Fields is there, there's no reason to take a quarterback. But they've done dumber things. They've done dumber things.
We'll get there. We'll talk about my thoughts on that.
If Fields goes before in the top 12 picks, that means a lot of quarterbacks have gone, and there's a lot of talent there for the Eagles to take.
For sure. After the first 2 picks.
Yep.
Then the intrigue starts.
Are you hammered on the BYU kid at 2?
Do I think he's going to go 2, or would I take him 2 if I were the Jets?
I don't know, man.
Yes, I think he's going to go 2. No, I would not take him. I don't think I would take him over Fields.
In the most Jets thing of all time, they take Mac Jones and try to make him a Joe Willie Namath. I'm telling you, put him in a fur coat, walk him out there like Joe
Broadway
Willie.
Mac.
Broadway Mac Jones, baby. I mean, would that not be the most Jets thing to do of all time?
I think no franchise has infuriated its own fans in the first round more often than the Jets. I think they've got a pretty big lead in that, even ahead of the aforementioned Cleveland Browns, the Detroit Lions. The Jets are in the lead. My whole thing, look, growing up, I was, growing up, 85 Bears. I love Jim McMahon, so I got a soft spot for improvisational BYU quarterbacks.
Sure.
But a guy with really only 1 year that makes his college numbers and tape pop, where
I got a name for you.
His biggest game was against Coastal Carolina and they lost.
Oh, you're talking about you're a BYU guy.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think Trevor Lawrence number 1 for sure. I think Zach Wilson number 2 almost as much for sure. And then after that, things get really interesting.
Do we know is Wilson a Mormon? It's an honest question.
I couldn't tell you.
With the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who was a BYU quarterback who's a pretty big named guy anymore right now, named Steve Sarkisian. And I was sitting in a casino, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing here, dude? He's drinking a beer with me. I'm like, what are you doing? Aren't you a Mormon? And he goes, dude, I'm a Catholic. I'm like, all right, cool. Let's drink. So, yeah, it was just weird because I didn't know that I was under the impression that most guys that went to BYU were, but he wasn't. And I want to know.
There are a lot who are not.
I want to know if he's going to the New York Jets as a full-blown Mormon. I don't know.
Yeah, I think, it's true that the Mormon faith is overrepresented on the BYU roster, but I'm not even sure that the majority of the players in any given year are Mormon players.
I got you. I'm saying Mac Jones. So let's talk about Mac now.
So if you're San Francisco, who are you taking at number 3?
You have that one really, really big year where we talked about last year. I said, the person that Joe Burrows, and that's the person that comes to mind to me.
Yeah.
I mean, he had an up and down career for 3 or 4 years at Ohio State, then goes to LSU.
Sure.
And then just has the best offense I have ever seen. And I'm coming from a guy who probably is in the number 2 slot on an offense.
If you had a crystal ball.
Kerry Collins, and I thought that, Burrows were very similar in that one senior year where they just absolutely dominated everything that came together. I think that's Mac Jones again. That's what he reminded me of.
Real quick, before we get to that, if you were in Columbus 3 years ago and you had a crystal ball and you saw what was going on with Joe Burrow down the line, do you run him out of town to bring in Justin Fields?
I think they've been quite happy with Justin Fields.
I guess.
I got a question for you.
Only one of them has got a ring.
When it comes to Justin Fields. He never lost to a Big Ten team. 2 years of starting.
Wow.
I wonder if it happened. Has that happened to any other quarterback?
Well, I know it never happened to Drew Brees because he never beat Penn State.
Never beat Penn State. I mean, you got Kerry, but Kerry we lost games in '93.
Right.
You go back to the national title. They have to have an undefeated team, and
I don't know.
Crazy, right? He went. He had 20 some wins in the Big, or 18 wins in the Big Ten.
But anyway, you're buying on Mac Jones.
I am, but I'm not. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying on him or Wilson because it's like I think that because I started talking about it on Tuesday, and that is that everybody is in need of quarterbacks constantly in those rookie contract quarterbacks.
Yes.
That I think that they're overvalued, in my opinion. I mean, and that's the way the NFL game is it's set that the quarterback
that the financial value of having a rookie contract quarterback. You were talking about Russ Wilson.
Yeah.
And you said he was probably making about $1 million. Probably less because he was a third-round pick.
You're right.
But, like, even if with the rookie wage scale, even if you're taking a quarterback number one, there's no more Sam Bradfords who decimate your salary cap for half a decade.
No, he was the last bonus baby.
So even if you're not getting, quote-unquote top 5 value in terms of the quarterback's play, if you're getting above average quarterback play from a guy you took in the top 5 and you're only paying him pennies on the dollar for the value of the position, then it was a good pick.
Absolutely it was. And you could build a lot of stuff around him. You could put the meat up front and the speed guys outside.
All these people knocking the Eagles taking Carson Wentz number 2 and saying that was a failure. They can pound sand because the Eagles don't win Super Bowl 52 without taking Carson Wentz where they did.
I concur. I'll just never.
And I'm not saying that as a homer. I think that's
overall at the second pick last year. I still don't see the worth of it.
No, neither do I. Don't get look.
I know. I will never understand.
I got to keep my blood pressure stable to get through the hour, Goon, which is why we're backloading the broadcast with Eagles talk. But if you're the 49ers, would you take Mac Jones, Trey Lance, or Justin Fields? I
think Justin Fields, I know that the Ohio State quarterbacks in the last 10 or 15 years have just been not great NFL quarterbacks.
The best Ohio State NFL quarterback of our lifetimes, Goon, is?
You want to go back to my era? You're going to go with Bobby Hoying out there? Or, Troy Smith really didn't do anything.
Mike Tomczak.
You're right. He's the only guy who won
NFL quarterback career.
I couldn't.
Unless you technically want to say that Tom Tupa played a long time as a punter in the NFL. So, maybe he had the best NFL
I think
career.
Art Schlichter really got screwed in the long run, he had the over in his career there, and it didn't pan out for him. But, yeah, you're right. Tomczak is the most successful Ohio State quarterback.
But you're a Fields guy for San Fran.
I am a Fields guy in general. Whoever takes him is going.
Same.
I really think that he is the best of the Ohio State quarterbacks that have come out in the last 2 decades. I really, really do.
Can I tell you why I liked when the Browns took Baker Mayfield number 1 overall, even though it was kind of a controversial pick? In this order: accuracy, quick release, mobility. If you got all 3 of those things,
and the competitor,
you're in pretty good shape. And and that on top of it, for sure. And I look at Fields and I see all of those things. So Fields, to me, seems like the guy who has been the most known commodity for the longest time, which is why he gets picked apart the most. Trey Lance is the most intriguing guy because you know the least about him, but you feel like that allows you to imagine he has the highest ceiling. And then, Mac Jones is you look at him and you say, well, on one hand, the guy never wilted under pressure. He stepped into an enormous gaping void when Tagovailoa left at Alabama and didn't miss a beat and beat the best competition and won a championship. On the other hand, his top 2 receivers are going to go in the top 12. 3 of his offensive linemen are getting drafted. His running back's going to go in the first round.
Let's not kid ourselves. There wasn't much drop-off for Mac Jones coming in and replacing Tua. But he did succeed, and they weren't really ever challenged, in my opinion. They were just a dominant team on both sides of the ball. They were just legit. And that's the one. But, we look at, Vance. Was it Vance, right, from South Dakota?
Lance.
Yeah. So what do we know about Carson Wentz back then? Pretty much the same thing,
Yeah, we'd seen him play a couple of seasons.
Strong-arm quarterback and this and that, and then
he'd finish. Trey Lance played 1 game last year.
Oh.
He has 17 college football games to his name, all against FCS competition. So, again, from everything I have seen and read and understand about the kid, he's got all the tools. He never threw a pick in college. And so the league is very infatuated with him. But all right.
Of course they are. Again, it goes back to I really, really, really believe that quarterbacks are overrated in the draft because they are such a commodity in the NFL. Now, you think that any of those wide receivers or even Timine or whatever from Clemson, the running back,
Etienne.
Etienne, he is probably a top 5 player in this draft, but because of the position he plays and the way the NFL is set up, you don't draft running backs that high.
Yeah.
So you're going to overstretch your on quarterbacks, and you're going to downplay your linebackers and your running backs. And the big guys right now are O&D line, quarterbacks, tight ends is a huge thing right now because of how Gronkowski and Kelsey have just come in and just dominated the league. And they changed. I believe that position has changed the game a little bit on offense. Now you're going to have a safety who could match up with those guys, who can run like deer, but they still have to play the run. I mean, they changed the game a little bit with those big guys at tight end. So Pitts is definitely in that category with those guys, in my opinion. He's an absolute
let's
stud.
talk about this thing, Goon. So there's going to be three quarterbacks for sure. Or like 99%, the top 3 picks are quarterbacks.
Yep. I think that.
Then the pivot point for the whole round is the Atlanta Falcons at 4.
Yeah.
Because they could go one of 2 ways. They could look at a guy like Kyle Pitts.
Yep.
And
they had maybe, Tony
by the way,
background.
Here's a little bit of a curveball for you. Maybe also a wide receiver like Jamar Chase from LSU, because there's a lot of talk that they may move Julio Jones this weekend.
I wouldn't mind Julio up at the 215.
So it depends on what he costs.
I don't think it'll cost that much. I mean, it may cost a pick next year, maybe.
The Eagles are in long-term rebuild mode, and Julio's getting a little long in the tooth.
Well, it would be nice to have a receiver like that.
So let's just say
who are the Falcons taking?
Maybe they move Julio, maybe they don't. If they do, then Jamar Chase is in play. If not, Pitts is the guy you're looking at.
Do you take a receiver that high?
Well,
I'm being honest with you.
For me, the question for Atlanta is
Atlanta could drop back a little bit and still get one of those stud receivers.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm
sorry.
So, are they committed to running it back for a few more years with Matt Ryan? Because you don't know the next time you're going to pick this high. If there's a guy you like at quarterback that you believe in, I think you just take the opportunity to draft him. But if you're not, then to your point, then it's really a question of how do we value this other skill position players who are here versus the teams that desperately want to get a quarterback, and there's 2 of them on the board. It's one of the 3 or 2 of the 3 of Fields, Jones, and Lance are there at 4. That all of a sudden becomes an incredibly desirable pick for teams like Carolina that maybe they want to, they're not convinced Sam Darnold is the guy. Denver.
They just traded Bridgewater.
Carolina,
New England. If Justin Fields is available in New England, and don't be surprised if he does drop to 7, 8, 9, that New England runs back up there and tries to grab him. I mean, what pick do they have?
15.
Don't be surprised. And I have another question about New England here. When the hell did Jimmy Garoppolo become such a quality stud quarterback that everybody talks about like he's Tom Brady? When the hell did this happen? I mean, he came to the Patriots. He was his backup for years, signs a monster contract with San Francisco, has, one good year, goes to the Super Bowl, right?
Everybody has the one that got away.
Jeez, Louise.
Jimmy Garoppolo is Bill Belichick's one that got away.
Well, Russ Tucker has already said, don't be surprised if Garoppolo is quarterback next year for the New England Patriots.
There are some rumors floating around.
They gain ground by what they gave up for him, what they got for him, and what they gave up to get him back.
Amazing.
It'll be absolutely checkers versus chess, Bill Belichick style. And I said it Tuesday. It is unfreaking believable, the chip on Belichick's shoulder right now. It has to be enormous.
You taking them to win the AFC East next year?
Man, they're going to. I think Belichick just said, you know what, I'm gonna chill out this year, raise my Siberian Husky that I fed on the draft day last year, and coach on Sunday a little bit. I think he took a year off as a little catch his breath type of thing, and they're really, really. I mean, what they're doing in offseason right now is just insane.
All I know, Goon, is that the Eagles have the Dolphins' first-round pick next year, so I am rooting against Miami next season.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so if you were the Falcons, what would you do?
I take Pitts at tight end position.
I like Pitts a lot.
He is just such a stud.
Yep.
And they have a history there with Gonzalez and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it depends, like you just said, if they are enamored with one of the quarterbacks that drops back. And Justin Fields is that type of guy who some people – don't be surprised, man, if the 49ers take Justin Fields. I think that they're smoke and mirrors on who they like.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would take Fields as probably the number 2 quarterback, I think.
If they take Justin Fields, I will tell you that, Kyle Shanahan and who's their GM, the safety from Tampa, John Lynch. Yeah. They deserve some kind of an award because they have thrown so much BS.
Absolutely, they
have blown up so much smoke.
They went up in the draft. They went down in the draft. They're moving here, moving there. And if they get Fields out of it, I think. I mean, if they like Mac Jones, he's going to be there. But if Fields, and so is Fields. It's just a question of who they really want, who they really are in love with.
So we're going to bust out to a break here in a minute because then I want to start talking about the draft scenarios for Philly and Pittsburgh. Philly picking closer to the top of the round, so I guess we'll get it over with and talk about them first. But before that, just an intriguing spot for me because I think you and I both like Joe Burrow a lot.
Yeah.
Like just, you're rooting for the kid. Since he picks at 5.
There's only one way they can go, in my opinion.
I think you and I are going to agree, but go ahead.
If Pitts is there, they go with Pitts.
Okay.
If not, they go with the left tackle from Oregon.
Absolutely.
They have to.
Yeah.
Now, there was a little scenario. You were on the phone there a little bit, and you were talking about the AFC title game when Mr. Allen was running for his life, it seemed, versus the Kansas City Chiefs. They needed a big-time left tackle help, the Buffalo Bills, I'm saying.
Ooh.
Would that not be a Buffalo Bill thing? Terry Pagula, big splash, move up to 5 in the draft and pick that big left tackle from Oregon.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Now, the only I love that. I love Penny Sewell, the kid from Oregon, and I love the idea of the Bills shoring up their O-line with a big-time left tackle. If you're Cincy, you've got to absolutely just put them over a barrel to get that pick, though, because you just invested in the number 1 overall pick in the draft, and he's already got a surgery scar on his knee. You got to protect that kid. Don't overthink it. Just,
I said, but
take your franchise left tackle.
Pitts is there, take Pitts. If not, take Sewell. That's just my opinion.
Well, my opinion is we're going to jump to a break, and everyone should stay with us. We'll be back with more of the Lion Country Kia Goon Ironhead show live from State College's Quaker Steak and Lube.
Lion Country Kia is offering exceptional deals on your new Kia during Kia's Command the Season event.
We have a nice selection on the 2021 Kia Sportage with various options and prices as low as $26,800, saving you $3,000. Or if you demand big power and towing capacity, slip into one of the 2021 Kia Sorrentos available on our lot, starting at $32,680.
Discover why Kia drivers throughout the area come to Lion Country Kia or visit online at lioncountrykia.com.
Quaker Steak and Lube is throwing open the garage doors and setting up the umbrellas. It's patio season. Come enjoy great food, drinks, and fun in the sun. There's always something happening at Quaker Steak and Lube, but we're really amping up our event calendars for our favorite time of year. Visit thelube.com to find out what's happening at your local lube this season. Lunch, happy hour, dinner, or late night, indoors or outside, at Quaker Steak and Lube, you'll always find big flavors, friendly faces, and lots of fun.
I'm here with Keith Goon Conlon, and you've got a little trip you're cooking up for August. Tell us about it.
So we got 4 or 5 ex-football players, Shane Conlon, myself, Troy Drayton, Justin Krupakis, and Mike Maudie. We're going to go down to Barbados, leave from different airports, 5 days, 4 nights. We've got to get our skills ready to go for the football season, so what better way to do it than down in Barbados?
People come along on this trip, what are they going to be doing down there?
Very laid-back atmosphere. We're going to have golfing trips, fishing trips, and then at night, the days are very, very chill, and then at nighttime there'll be cocktail parties and, old viewings of old football games from Penn State. You might be watching the 87 Fiesta Bowl, the 95 Rose Bowl, a private viewing, a viewing for all the people who are on the trip of Saving Your Roar, which is the 2012 team documentary. So the biggest thing is it is 100% refundable. LionsLegendsTravels.com. Everything is on there. It's $19.95 a person. There's multiple airports, so check in.
Good stuff, Goon. Lions Legends Travel. Check it out.
not getting that car in there.
No, sir.
Hey, look at these two troublemakers.
Johnny, how are you?
Wicked car, is that new?
Yeah, it's a Sonata. Let me park it.
Oh, you're not fitting your car in there.
Chris, stop being a smarty pants, all right? Look who's got Smart Park. Even Bruiser can park it. Just hit the clicker. I can park it anywhere.
Beaver Stadium?
Parked it.
Even the Jordan Center?
Parked it.
Even Medler Field?
Even Bruiser parked it.
Hey, you can't park there.
He's got Smart Park!
Wicked smart.
Blaze Alexander Hyundai. It's wicked smart.
And we are back here on the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead Show. I'm Chris Buchignani of the Obligatory PSU podcast, filling in for Ironhead with Keith Goon Conlon. Want to throw a plug in for the last podcast we just did, Goon, with Matt Bowen of.
Did you like my comment last night?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. What
Has
I
Noble
call
ever talked about that?
Well, we'll talk about it in a second.
Okay.
But what you and I call Edge NFL matchup, even though it has been sponsored by Edge Shave Gel in 20 years. But a great long time NFL analysis show. Matt came on the pod and just talked about the prospects for all the Penn State guys going into the draft, and he's a former Hawkeye. So he and Brandon Noble played together in Washington, and of course they faced off against each other in college. At least 1 year they'd cross over in their careers. And Noble talked about getting ear-holed by Tim Dwight.
So it wasn't as Noble. He literally ear-holed. I think he ear-holed Joe at one point. I mean, he ear-holed everybody who was in a white uniform that game.
Yeah, that was rough.
He couldn't play nowadays the way he played. And he wasn't a dirty cheap shot player. He was just blocking downfield, just Heinz Ward type thing.
Yeah.
And Tim, it was always so funny because Noble would be like, I'm running them, and boom, and just get ear-holed by a 5'7" guy running the 4.3 40.
The only non-painful college thing that stands out to me about Tim Dwight is he was part of the blockbuster trade for Atlanta to move up into San Diego's spot and pick Michael Vick.
Oh, okay.
He was one of the key pieces of that trade.
Was it Eli? Or was it another time?
No, it was so San Diego had back when they were in San Diego, Chargers had the top pick.
Yeah.
And Atlanta sent them a big package of players and picks to move up to number 1 overall to get Vic. They weren't slotted to pick first overall the year they drafted Vic.
Tie game, Phillies.
Nice. Good
there
job.
We go, baby.
Good job, Phils.
Ready to come back a little bit. Showing some toughness.
Okay,
yes,
so
you're talking about edge rushers and stuff like that. Not the edge NFL football, but edge rushers.
No.
Oh,
You're bringing up edge rushers.
Okay,
and it's,
what
it's making me think of. Okay, so the Eagles traded back. First of all, Eagles were going to pick number 6.
John Harris is still available.
I'm sure most people don't know what we're talking about. This is going back about 25 years. Back in the Ray Rhodes era of Eagles football, they draft a defensive tackle first round, John Harris. Everybody at ESPN is so flummoxed. They're speechless. Mel Kiper was speechless. He didn't even know what to do. He had no notes on the guy.
The guy
they had no film on him. The only comment I can remember clearly anybody making was somebody said, the Eagles must really want this guy. I didn't have him go until the 5th round.
Yeah, 5th round. Oh, he's a day 3 guy, day 2 guy back in the day. Yeah.
Spoiler alert, he sucked.
Oh,
he was terrible.
They put him in every position he possibly could to try and play, and he just never could.
So the Eagles have caused a lot of heartache amongst their fans, historically in the draft and definitely recently. So they start out at number 6. Because, of course, Doug Peterson infamously threw the game against the Washington football team.
Mm-hmm.
And then they trade down to 12. So first question, trade down. You like that or not?
I did.
Yeah, me too.
I liked it a lot. They're not going to win the Super Bowl next year.
They're far away from competition. You got to build draft
this
capital.
season coming up, so you may as well stockpile for the future.
And, again, to your point, there's going to be a glut of quarterbacks taken at the top of the round.
Yep.
And so you look and you say –
talent's going to come down.
We're going to get value of being able to move from the 5th into the 4th round this year, and we're going to add another first-round pick next year, and we are still going to get a top 8 non-quarterback skill position player, right? For sure, sure. And we can use help at all the positions where the draft is strong at the top. You could use a good corner. You could use a stud wide receiver. You could use a really good offensive lineman. And so I am perfectly happy with Philly sitting pat at 12. I don't love being behind the Giants at 11, the Cowboys at 10. But I would be fine with Philly just waiting to see what falls to them at 12 and taking a guy who can immediately help the team at one of those three positions. But, of course, my big fear, Goon, is that Howie's going to be the smartest guy in the room.
It's not a fear. That's going to happen. That's what he does.
He's taking Kwity Paye, the defensive end from Michigan, at 12. And I will ritualistically peel the skin from my body.
I would help you with that. No, I like the kid, too. I saw the story on the other day.
I like the player.
Mother was in Liberia and all that stuff, so I understand. I love the story, but he's not the 12th pick overall.
Yeah, athletic
with the
kid,
amount of talent
nice frame.
coming back after all of these. Again, if there's two styles of draft. If there's the run on the quarterbacks in the top 10 picks, and then there's going to be a bevy of talent at 12.
That's the point. It's not about the kid. It's not about the player.
Nope.
It's about value where you pick and opportunity cost of who you don't draft.
Yep.
There is no edge rusher in this class worth taking in the top 12.
There's not. And we even have one on our roster who might go tonight who, that's how weak that position is this year, that they're going to take a combine warrior per se versus a football player, which has obviously worked out for a lot of people in situations, but sometimes it hasn't,
Well, before we go to talk about Jason Owa and Micah Parsons, I want to close the loop on the Eagles because to me, if you look at most mock drafts, the two most common positions are wide receiver or corner. I would be thrilled if they get a guy at either one of those positions. Who would you take?
Is there a more like ho-hum pick than picking a corner? You're like, okay, we got somebody there, this and that. There's no accolades.
It's not sexy.
It's not sexy at all. You pick a left tackle. You got a defensive end, the lineman, running back, quarter. You have that sexiness. Wide receiver, a defensive back. It's okay, just do your job. And,
but if you put Patrick Surtain or J.C. Horn opposite Darius Slay,
I completely agree. We got a pretty good one right now.
That's a solid pairing.
Okay,
so would you take a corner or a receiver if you were making the pick?
If LSU guy,
Jamar Chase,
or the Alabama,
so either Devontae Smith or Jalen Waddle,
if either one are available, no, you think Harris is the
I think there's no way Jamar Chase is there. No way.
I think that either one of the two top receivers in there, you got to grab one. Have to.
Now,
but they're both tiny guys.
That's my question.
Now Devontae
Smith dominated the SEC, won the Heisman Trophy, took a bunch of hits in college, gets open, catches the ball, high volume producer, made big plays in big games, weighs 166 pounds soaking wet.
Yes. Okay.
Is that scaring you off at 12 or not?
It's not the 60s, 70s, and 80s NFL anymore. There's guys like that who are – I don't think he's not going to get that huge monster hit going across the middle.
Sure.
The career-ending type of hit. We're never going to see that type of player or play pretty much anymore.
And I think there's defenders in the SEC who are as good, as athletic, and as hard of hitters as you're going to see playing in the NFL.
Yes.
And he held up.
Absolutely, he did.
Pretty admirably.
He got beat up
he hurt his finger in the national championship game. That has nothing to do with his weight.
I love that kid as a player.
Yeah,
and I love that. I love where he comes from. There is they are, dare I say, a professional franchise. They're all about business at Alabama. It's business. You know what I mean? It's still a college game, but it's business to them. It's about winning national titles, and I like that. The kid comes in and he's plugging right in and he's playing right away. I would love that.
I'm with you. Don't overthink it.
Don't overthink it. Would be fantastic.
Take a number one wide receiver.
If you get a corner to match up opposite of Slay, I'm okay with that also. It's just not a sexy pick. You were not sitting here cheering beers tonight like,
I would be thrilled that Howie didn't screw it up.
Yeah, and I would be like, okay, that's my thing. Take the best available athlete player out there. You know what I mean? Stop trying to be the smartest man in the freaking room, and that's why people hate him so much.
Well,
that's why you watch a Phillies game and you hear a Fire Howie chant come up.
Another little piece of intrigue for you, Goon, about Trader Howie is you talk about the blockbuster move of the Bills trading up.
Yeah.
I think
here we go.
Either way, Philly goes at 12. And I think Devontae Smith's my guy. I like Jalen Waddle a lot. I'd be thrilled with either one of them. And if I had to pick, I don't know. I'm not enough of a football guy to know for sure. I'd be thrilled with either one. But either way they go, at 12, the Bills are sitting there at 30, and the Eagles pick at 37. Do they maybe take one of their 11 picks that they have this year and
try to jump
Zach
up to 30?
Ertz, who could help a team that believes it's ready to contend right now, and then package those up with pick number 37, jump into the bottom of the first round, and take a player at whatever position they didn't draft at 12. I think that definite possibility Philly tries to move back into the bottom of the first round tonight.
You weren't kidding. You do love this.
I do.
That's a great – I would love that.
Yeah, be a smart
move.
move.
Absolutely love that.
I mean, they've got 11 picks. They're not going to use them all.
Lamar Jackson? Did they pick him up? Did they moved?
Yes,
they
correct.
Jumped back in the first round to pick him. So I know we're going to talk about the Steelers, but I got to get this off my chest. I know you just talked about the 10 and 11 pick. And then the Redskins. I do not want Micah Parsons in the NFC East.
Well, we just got a question.
I do not want to see Micah Parsons in Philadelphia or in the NFC. I don't want to play against him, but I don't think he would be successful in Philadelphia.
No, and Philly does not value linebacker. We've talked about that before. I think the odds of the Eagles picking Micah Parsons is like less than 1%.
I do not want to play. I don't want him to play for the Eagles, but I don't want the Eagles to play him twice a year.
So Alan asked,
could you imagine if Micah Parsons
New York Giants?
No, but he drops down to the Redskins, and they have Chase Young and Micah Parsons on one freaking defense.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, that's like, I mean, that's a real possibility. And it scares the living hell out of me. So I want Micah out of this East.
The Redskins are an interesting team. I think they believe they're ready to contend for the division and go to the playoffs next year because why else would they sign Fitzpatrick? But
and Ron Rivera is all about defense, man.
They've still got a long-term quarterback issue. They're another team that you could see getting into that mix. We're talking about teams that might trade up into the top of the first round. But look, if you're an Eagles fan, you are praying that a team like Denver looks at Micah and sees Von Miller, or the New York Giants for the, once again, take a Penn State player at a traditionally undervalued position high and go with Micah, because if Parsons goes ahead of Philadelphia, that means one of the guys that you really want to be there for the Eagles is, going to drop down farther.
Yeah.
And there's some talk too, Philly may actually try to swing a trade to keep the first round pick they got from Miami to move down, but move up into like Carolina or Denver's spot so they can pick ahead of the two divisional rivals.
There you go.
Okay, so let's talk about the Penn State guys. We talked about Micah a little bit already.
Why would you not want him in Philadelphia? I just think that it's the Shady McCoy syndrome of having too close to home, having family and friends living down in Philadelphia. There's too many ways to get in trouble. I think that Shady McCoy was very shady in the Philadelphia area. People that I know, and I think that would have to be a worry of the Eagles.
I also just don't think in terms of the Eagles team needs
that
Micah helps in a way that they need.
I'm sorry, but you don't draft I don't think he is a game changer. There's no doubt about it. But do you think he's an inside or outside linebacker? Do you think he's a rush guy in the NFL? Do you think he's going to?
Well, when we had Bowens on the podcast, he was, he and Brandon were both coached by Greg Williams in the NFL. Yeah. And they both talked about him like one of the best coaches to play for, one of the smartest defensive minds. And he said if Greg Williams got a guy like Micah, he'd play him all over the field.
Man,
he'd have him inside, he'd have him outside, he'd use him as an edge rusher, he'd have him dropping back in coverage. I think he can play outside.
My personal opinion, he reminds me of a little LaVar when he was in that position. He can play inside, outside, and as a rush end. But then the problem with LaVar is he started getting beat up a little bit with his injuries and slowed down. And the game caught up to him. But Micah is that type of stud to be able to do that.
So the NFL loves his athleticism. They love his tape. They don't love the position he plays. Like that, a little undervalued.
It's not coveted.
You could see, like I said, Carolina picks at 8. Matt Rule loves him some Penn State guys.
I wonder why.
They're already building defense down there. Carolina could take him. Denver could definitely take him.
You think Carolina goes the whole 2020 draft 100%
all defense,
and then goes 2021 with another defensive guy? Wow. He's building it. Yeah, he's building it.
Again, to be clear, I don't think Micah goes to Carolina, but it wouldn't stun me. Because again, maybe just the philosophy is the division's in flux. We're going to get guys who make plays.
I just hope he goes before 9. Just get him out.
And why 9?
Just they're not a 10 or 11. I don't want them to get a pick.
Okay, you don't want him in the division.
I don't want him in the division at all.
But
because
of the off the field stuff, whether it's fair or not, he could drop down as far as like Washington at 19.
You know what? I don't
think he gets out of the top 20.
Do you think are you talking about the off-field incident with the lawsuit and stuff like that?
That's part of it.
But
It goes all the way.
was named in that thing too, and he was also picked by Carolina in the first round last year.
Second round, but yeah.
Gross Matos was a second rounder?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
you're the guru.
It goes all the way back to high school with him. And again, this is one of these things that the longer you are on the radar of NFL guys as a prospect, the more time they have to get bored of talking about you and just start nitpicking things.
True,
so again,
buddy.
like the guy could be a top 8 pick. He could drop down into the low teens. Who knows? It's a question of, with him especially, what team feels like he's going to come in and be incredibly impactful for him, and do they not worry about, kind of like we'll talk about with the Steelers in a second, the rule, like don't take a running back in the first round. Some people say don't take a linebacker in the top 20, whatever.
Running back and LB are the same thing. I think 18 to 20 is the cut. I think you're okay getting them at 18 to 20, in my opinion.
So let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're drafting 24, and damn near every mock draft I see has them taking Alabama's Najee Harris at 24 to be that bell cow running back that Mike Tomlin talks about loving so much, and they have lacked for a long time. James Conner's not there anymore, and they want to be a team. As much as they have become more pass-oriented over the years, they want to be able to rely on the run game. And look, I think you and I both agree that if they're really running it back with Ben Roethlisberger, the less they have to make that guy drop back and throw, the better.
I agree. They have not had the run game last year. That's what caught up to them. And later in the season, when they didn't have a run game, and people can sit on them throwing the ball around.
And nobody they've got on the roster right now is scaring you.
No.
And
running back-wise.
Yeah, running back-wise, yeah.
The receiver scared the living hell out of
everybody.
Yeah,
no question.
And the quarterback, too, but you got to give them some time, and they might go – I mean, let's go back to the start. I mean, I hate the Pittsburgh Steelers fan base because they're cocky, conceited people. But
hi, everybody.
No, it's all good.
Keith Conley.
No, it's all good. I don't hate them. I don't hate anybody. I'm just saying that it just aggravates you because they are so very good at what they do. And that is, we talked about last year's draft show. Look at their last 25 drafts, and you just look at it, you're like, there's maybe 3 misses. You would say 2.5. Some people would say only 2 type of misses, where the Eagles have had like 7 or 8.
A lot.
I mean, it just drives you absolutely crazy because it is, your team is based off, this is how you build your team.
How about that one little stretch where they went Troy Polamalu, Ben Roethlisberger, Heath Miller?
Yeah, not bad.
Not too shabby.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. I'd say, you think Heath's a Hall of Famer? I don't know.
He's borderline, but you've got two first ballot guys and a borderline guy in a row. Not too shabby.
Yeah,
not too shabby.
That's like the 70s Steelers all picking Mean Joe Green, Jack Ham, all those guys all in like a 3-year period.
So let me toss this out at you because let's give some alternatives to Najee Harris.
No, by the way, I want to go back. I don't hate the Steelers fans. I'm just it's
almost like I don't think anyone thinks you hate the Steelers.
It's the the passion they have for their Steelers, and it's rightfully deserved because it's such a good organization.
No, yeah,
I think you were tweeting about it, how the Packers and the
Packers and the Steelers
things to an NFL.
They're like a college environment with a pro team.
I like to think that Penn State, when I was here, was very built like that. We were very, like, I'm being serious. We were very business-like in our approach, almost like how Alabama is like right now.
Yes.
Like, we were always, like, you always, in the 70s and 80s, always like, I always draft a Penn State guy ahead of somebody if there was a head-to-head question. You always go with the Penn State guy because they're ready to go. They're well coached. They listen, all that stuff.
You want to talk about first-round misses by the Steelers? One of the great what-ifs in sports is they take Paul Posluszny instead of Lawrence Timmons. I don't know what they were thinking. Like, it was right. It was so obvious. It was right there in front of them. You don't think
Timmons had a good career with them?
He had an okay career.
Okay.
But for God's sakes, Goon, like, Paul Posluszny distinguished himself playing most of his career in Jacksonville. Can you imagine?
And Buffalo.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Two huge markets at the time when they were
two
both great
terrible teams. Can you imagine if he would have had just that same career, let alone what probably would have been much better because he'd be playing in a better environment, gotten better coaching, better organizations.
Have Casey Hampton in front of him?
Paul could have been a Hall of Famer.
I agree with you.
Yeah. So to me, that was a huge miss on the Steelers' part and so obvious, like such a no-brainer. You've got Jack Ham, guys. Like, how do I have to spell it out for you if you're going to take a linebacker with that pick? Just that was one place where I think they got too fixated on, we got to get the speed guy, the speed rush guy. And Paul was not that, right? But
he was a great linebacker.
All he was one of the great football players of his generation. So anyway, okay.
Completely agree, buddy.
24. Najee Harris, high degree of probability he's going to be the pick.
I mean, imagine him. I mean, he is a horse.
That's what they want. I love him. Yep.
And you put him in Pittsburgh,
he
and
can do everything well.
Roethlisberger instantly clicks up 2 more points, in my opinion.
Now,
he needs a run game. Ben needs a run. He cannot throw the ball around.
And if you're going to have a run game, you got to have a good running back.
And you got to have
also got to have a good offensive front.
And
so how about this game? So Villanueva is gone.
Pouncey retired.
Far more importantly, Pouncey retired. Now think about this: the Steelers have had only a few more centers than they have had head coaches since the 1970s. Mike Webster, right to Dermody Dawson, right to Jeff Hardings. Then you get a little bit of the dog's breakfast of guys who, by the way, they won a Super Bowl during that period as they're shifting through a couple of centers, and then they go to Pouncey. So especially if Najee is off the board, which don't rule it out because the Dolphins have 2 picks in the first round. They're in win now mode. They could use a running back, and they pick at 18.
2 picks, so you could waste a pick on a running back if you have 2
precisely.
first. Gotcha.
Yeah, so they pick at 18. I think Najee could be the pick there. If he's off the board, don't be stunned.
Yeah.
If Pittsburgh – now, I think they could take an offensive tackle, a guy like Tevin Coleman from Oklahoma State, or maybe Christian Darrisaw from Virginia Tech if he drops. But don't be shocked if they just say, look, the best center in this draft is Creed Humphrey from Oklahoma.
Yep.
Pittsburgh has, gone 4 decades with great centers. Like, we're just going to do it. We're going to pull the trigger. We're going to keep it going. I think Creed Humphrey could be their guy tonight. I really do.
The only thing I'd be scared about Creed Humphrey is he's played a ton of games.
Good point.
He played a ton of games in Oklahoma. He's a 3-year starter every game there. I know he got hurt one time.
Look at you with the analytics usage
I'm just
rate.
saying, you only have so much tread on your tires, man. I mean, that's how it is. And they don't play in Oklahoma's on a super physical conference or anything like that. It's not the SEC or the Big Ten.
You don't say.
But, I mean, there's a guy. He is the best center in the draft. It would be a great pickup for them. And they would, Pouncey's – I hate saying it. Like, but is Pouncey a Hall of Famer?
No.
My credo on is he a Hall of Famer is this. If at any point in his career would see the best player in his position in the league. And I got to say, yeah. So
I'd have to think about that a little bit. I shouldn't have said no so definitively. I don't feel my gut instinct is no, but
yep. It's tough. I mean, centers go in a lot faster than guards in the NFL in the Hall of Fame. But yes, the kid from Oklahoma, Creed, would be amazing for them to get. And the Alabama running back would be the perfect play for them, be amazing for them. And they also need a little bit of tight end work, tight end help out there.
Yeah.
They have the receiver. They have a slot receivers who can drop down and play tight end and this and that, but they don't really have that big blocking tight end who can actually catch too.
So they've got the 55th pick in the second round. Not out of the realm of possibility that's a spot for Pat Freiermuth.
There you go. And they love Jesse James was there for a few years. I mean, they don't hate Penn State tight ends, man. But I go back to this, and I have a little hometown feel to it. One of my great friends growing up is one of the Marcy family in Philadelphia, but their son, Jimmy Jr. played at Pitt, and he won. He was a walk-on at Pitt and was a 3-year starter for my high school, and he's already out at Pittsburgh. I mean, he has been in that environment around Pitt for 3, 4, 5 years now. So
and he's going to be a value pick on day 3.
Wouldn't you think that if they don't go center, would he not be a perfect pickup for them late in the draft?
It's interesting. The center, I feel like, is a need for Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. Now, thankfully,
I would love him in Philadelphia.
Yeah, Philly's still got Kelsey, but
I think
he's
Kelsey's
close to retirement. Yeah,
I still can't believe that he actually re-signed, knowing going into next season that they're not going to win it.
Here's the thing. I think he likes the money for sure, but I also think he likes the idea that he plays 1 or 2 more years and he's a lock for the Hall.
Oh. There's another one.
Yeah. So
that's a questionable yes or no.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Yeah, but that's just my personal, that's my selfish
so
take on the
longevity
Marcy.
is something they'll look at there. Yeah, no, I like that. I like that a lot. You don't get the center early. You look for value late. And it pains me to say it. Pitt's going to have a bunch of kids taken in this draft.
It always does. It always. I mean, how many star players in the NFL from Pitt? And you're like, what have you guys wanted? It drives you nuts a little bit. Thinking about it over like the years. I mean, Larry Fitzgerald, Aaron Donald.
The ACC is full of these like middling college programs like BC and Pitt that just are virtually irrelevant in college football. But then they, individually
they move on and they're like, wow.
Yeah. So we're coming down now towards the bottom of the round. One last note on Pittsburgh.
Steelers.
Okay. A real out of left field scenario is if, going back to the quarterback conversation, Justin Fields really starts dropping. And I said there's no way he drops down as far as Aaron Rodgers did. Someone will jump up and move him. Do the Steelers say, we like this guy? This is a guy who should have gone in the top 3 or 4 picks. Like, let's just pull the trigger and do it because Ben's almost out of gas.
I'm with you, dude. And I'm telling you, I am sold on Justin Fields as being a very good NFL quarterback.
If he drops the Eagles, nab him at 12, you going to be upset?
No.
No, nor will I. Nope.
I would not be upset. I would just say, okay, we got to reconfigure what's going on here. Like you're going to have Hurts, and then you're going to have him, and it's just like, all right, now you're just putting somebody in Hurts' rearview mirror, like when you put Hurts in there.
Yeah, it's not my first.
You need to move Jalen Hurts if you're going to do something like that. You need to move Jalen Hurts. And does anybody in Pittsburgh wouldn't mind Jalen Hurts?
Sure.
So I love our trade scenarios.
There are certain teams.
I would trade Lawrence Taylor.
There are certain teams like Pittsburgh and New England that if I ever proposed a trade to them and they agreed, I'd immediately take it back because I'd be like, this is a sign I'm getting fleeced. Yeah, absolutely.
That dog's got 3 legs. There's something wrong with that thing. But I mean that's a credit to those organizations, and that's why they are the bell cow organizations. I mean, when was the last time the Pittsburgh Steelers went out and spent a ton of money in the offseason on free agents? They don't. They build their team through the draft. And then they build their team and they cultivate their guys and they do it right. There's so many NFL teams that are fly by night and it's just a pain in the booty, looking at them and watching them. And you wish that more teams would be like that. And that's why it's so surprising to go back to what New England had done and spending the $190 million guaranteed money this offseason. That's insane. That's $190 million guaranteed money they spent.
You know what, though? I think it's 4D chess because they realized that the new TV deals were coming down the line and the salary cap's about to take a big jump next year.
Well, it went down this year.
Right. So that guaranteed money now.
Playing checkers and they're playing chess. Yeah. Same thing.
Yeah. So, okay. So as we're kind of wrapping up here, and we've kind of gone down through some of the storylines, Philly, Pittsburgh, quarterbacks. We're kind of getting back to the back of the first round. That's where I think very possible that you see Jason Owa be the second Nittany Lion to come off the board tonight.
It just goes to show what the NFL is looking for, and that is that
measurables.
The measurables, and his
traits.
measurables are absolutely off the charts. I just crazy. I mean, I go back to, is Buffalo want somebody like that, or are they still scared of the Aaron Maben situation?
Well, it's funny. Like, to me, there are 2 guys. So we were talking about there's no edge rusher worth taking at 12. There are 2 kids from Miami, Greg Rousseau and Jalen Phillips. Both have big question marks on them. Both could be potentially top 10 worthy talent. But one of the knocks, especially on Rousseau, is that he's got a bunch of sack numbers that are kind of fake, that they're overinflated. And so to me, like Owa, I think about his lack of statistical production last year. And I view him as like the anti-Aaron Maben. Like Aaron Maben put up eye-popping stats in his 1 year to shine in 2008. Sure. But I kind of knew when he announced that he was coming out, especially when I saw Buffalo was going to draft him to be like a hand in the dirt 4-3 end. I was like, this is not going to work out well.
Well, he had to be hand in the dirt because he could not play up.
Because a couple teams tried it, and it didn't work out.
No, he just didn't have it.
The Jets,
he didn't
the
have
Bengals,
the side to side.
Yeah, they tried him as a 4-3 outside back
guy and stuff like that. He just wasn't doing it. He was upfield pass rush. I mean, you watch him. He decimated the Big Ten with that, his speed rush.
Oh my God!
And
remember him just absolutely destroying Wisconsin.
Yeah,
I mean,
and then Ohio State
massacre.
And we remember him going into the NFL, and it was like the worry was, I mean, it could have been 3rd and 11, and they're going to put him into the game, and they're audible, and they're going to run right at him, and that's all we would do. They just had to run at him.
So Aaron Maben was a top 10 pick. He made a ton of money.
Yep.
He did not distinguish himself in the NFL. He have an amazing life after all.
Absolutely.
He's doing a lot of stuff after football.
32 guys' lives changed tonight.
But you and I are still, reminiscing about his great last season in Happy Valley.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Owa, on the other hand, every time the athletic department puts out media and video about him, they have to keep reusing over and over and over again that time he hit the quarterback at Michigan State 2 years ago.
Yep.
Because he
with a
does
highlighter around him.
Yeah. No, 15 years from now, no one is going to be, with stars in their eyes, remembering the glory days of Jason Owa. But everybody talks about his bend, right? Mm-hmm. He's big, he's flexible, he's fast. He's
his explosiveness,
agile, explosive.
His vertical and broad jumper is completely off the charts, and that's what they love. That's the explosion.
So, here's my question, and it's not a fun or an easy question for Penn Staters to answer. You buy in this guy as a first rounder, or even someone who's just going to make an impact in the NFL.
Me personally, I mean, if he gets with the right program,
landing spot is so important.
That kid is the right spot. He needs to be in the right position with the right team and the right coach, and a team that's already proven there a little bit, in my opinion, and they can learn, because you can't teach what he has.
Yeah,
you can't teach it. He has it, and you just gotta learn how to use it. I hope he goes. I mean, I guess. My other thing with our D-line now is that we rotated so many guys. We had, we would rotate 12 guys. So you're only getting a third of the plays that a guy normally would have used to get 10, 15, 20 years ago. So that has a lot to do with it. And, it was a weird season. I mean, again, it was 2020. What a weird one. And we had so many guys out there who could do the same thing. And he just fell by the wayside and didn't get the stats that he thought he would. But I'm telling you, you cannot coach what he has, but you can learn how to. He needs to learn how to use his size and his strength and his explosiveness to get better.
And the optimist view of Jason Owa that I've heard of people who have looked at his tape is they said, look, yes, he didn't put up sack numbers at Penn State, but if you look at what he did to help his defense stop the run, down-to-down consistency, everything improved from 2019 to 2020 except the sack numbers. Yep. You combine that with all the stuff at the pro day and the measurables and the whole 9 yards. Like you said, you put him in a system where he fits, where he's going to get good coaching, and we're going to turn this guy into a monster because, we've heard it a lot around Happy Valley. He's only been playing football since he was in 11th grade.
And he needs to go to a team that has not a huge media presence. Just going to be harping him. Why'd you spend a first round pick? He needs to be.
So here's my perfect landing spot for him. Buffalo. You talked about even better than Buffalo, in my opinion.
Green Bay Packers.
You talked about the Dolphins being able to waste a first round pick on a running back.
Yep.
Another team that's got 2 first rounders now where I think he fits hand in glove, the Baltimore Ravens.
Be perfect there.
27 and 31. He could conceivably go at either one of those spots. Penn State gets 2 first round picks coming off its worst season in nearly 2 decades.
Yep.
And, just more things coming up Nittany Lions as we swing from 2020 into 2021.
At positions we normally didn't used to have to do this in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. We had a lot of O linemen, and I guess we pushed. Larry had a ton of D linemen, and Chaos has a lot of D linemen. I mean, we got to be marking up with D line U soon, right? We're LBU for a while.
I'm gonna stick with linebacker U.
You like the LBU moniker?
Yeah. The first Penn Stater off the board tonight's still going to be a linebacker.
Yeah, and a hell of a linebacker at that. I mean, again, I don't want him in the East, man. I mean, he could be that good, and I hope that he is, and I hope he makes Penn State proud, and I hope he plays a long time, and I hope they all play a long damn time and stay healthy, and it's only going to be good things for Penn State to say, hey, there's 2 more first-round picks. That means a lot to recruiting nowadays.
It does. That's
it's
a good
an absolutely
visual.
Huge thing, man.
Yep.
Dude, I'm jacked, man. I love it. I've always loved the draft.
Off-season,
not
Christmas
as much
Day.
as you, dude.
Yeah, no, I love it.
Good luck to you, Booch.
Yeah.
If I call you about 12 picks in, is about 9:30. If we're on the phone with each other, MFing each other, and MFing Howie, what do you think? Does he blow it, or are we both going to be happy?
So,
what is your
last year's draft? Kind of broke me. Like the numbers, the sheer number of scenarios that would make me happy. There's so many of them. And there's just a very narrow band of ways I think they could screw it up. And yet I can't bring myself to envision a scenario where they don't end up in the narrow band.
I have a horrible, horrible scenario for you.
Please.
There's a firefighter in Western Canada. He's 28.
You've never heard of him, but Howie loves his tape.
That's the one I'll never get over. I don't even remember his name.
And
he's known as the fireman in Philadelphia.
And so to take
Danny Watkins.
Yeah, Danny Watkins, offensive lineman from Baylor, was
28 years old.
39 years old.
He was 28 years old as a rookie.
Yeah.
And a former British Columbia fireman.
So here's what's going to happen.
First round pick.
There's the Canadian fireman we've never heard of. And the Eagles are actually going to trade all the stuff they got from Miami back to Miami, plus a pick, to go back up to 6 and take him.
Oh, my goodness.
So there you have it. It's going to be on ESPN, on ABC. It's going to be on NFL Network. It's going to be good TV.
And Howie is literally fired tonight on television.
Your lips to God's ears. The Ironhead is going to be back here on Tuesday to break it down with you. We'll see how these Penn State guys do, how the Steelers do, and yes, even how the Eagles do. Y'all enjoy the draft. Y'all have a great weekend. Thanks for having me, Goon.
Awesome time, man.
We'll be back real soon here on the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead Show.
Lion Country Kia is offering exceptional deals on your new Kia during Kia's Command the Season event.
We have a nice selection on the 2021 Kia Sportage with various options and prices as low as $26,800, saving you $3,000. Or if you demand big power and towing capacity, slip into one of the 2021 Kia Sorrentos available on our lot starting at $32,680.
Discover why Kia drivers throughout the area come to Lion Country Kia or visit online at lioncountrykia.com.
Quaker Steak and Lube is throwing open the garage doors and setting up the umbrellas. It's patio season. Come enjoy great food, drinks, and fun in the sun. There's always something happening at Quaker Steak and Lube, but we're really amping up our event calendars for our favorite time of year. Visit thelube.com to find out what's happening at your local lube this season. Lunch, happy hour, dinner, or late night, indoors or outside, at Quaker Steak and Lube, you'll always find big flavors, friendly faces, and lots of fun.
I'm here with Keith Goon Conlon, and you've got a little trip you're cooking up for August. Tell us about it.
So we got 4 or 5 ex-football players, Shane Conlon, myself, Troy Drayton, Justin Kupakis, and Mike Marty. We're going to go down to Barbados, leave from different airports, 5 days, 4 nights. We've got to get our skills ready to go for the football season, so what better way to do it than down in Barbados?
People come along on this trip, what are they going to be doing down there?
Very laid-back atmosphere. We're going to have golfing trips, fishing trips, and then at night, the days are very, very chill, and then at nighttime there'll be cocktail parties and, old viewings of old football games from Penn State. You might be watching the 87 Fiesta Bowl, the 95 Rose Bowl, a private viewing for all the people who are on the trip of Saving Your Roar, which is the 2012 team documentary. So the biggest thing is that it's 100% refundable. LionsLegendsTravels.com. Everything is on there. It's $19.95 a person. There's multiple airports, so check in.
Good stuff, Goon. Lions Legends Travel. Check it out.
He's not getting that car in there.
No, sir.
Hey, look at these 2 troublemakers.
Johnny, how are you?
Wicked car. Is that new?
Yeah, it's a Sonata. Let me park it.
Oh, you're not fitting your car in there.
Chris, stop being a smarty pants, all right? Look who's got Smart Park. Even Bruiser can park it. Just hit the clicker. I can park it anywhere.
Beaver Stadium?
Parked it.
Even the Jordan Center?
Parked it.
Even Medler Field?
Even Bruiser parked it.
Hey, you can't park there.
He's got smart pack!
Wicked smart.
Blaze Alexander Hyundai. It's wicked smart.